Hey guys, Brent Build Show, talking today about hand tools and what are the best hand tools to carry around in your tool pouch and why should we be using hand tools today in this modern world. Come join me. So today I wanted to talk about precision. I remember when I was in North Bennett Street, I always thought that you should be carrying around a carpenter's pencil, right? My Keep Craft Alive pencil. Thank you, Fine Home Building. And so he pointed out pretty quickly, my instructor, that you really needed to be using a pencil like this. And then he drew a line, okay? And you know, that line is probably a 32nd of an inch. And then he drew another line, try to draw a fat one here. And that's maybe an 1/8 of an inch, right? And so that if you look at these two lines, right, we're talking about a 32nd versus an 1/8. And his point was, when you have a big fat line, which side of the line are you going to cut on? Are you going to cut it so it's tight? Are you going to cut it so that there's plenty showing? Because now you're off about, you know, up to an 1/8 of an inch if you cut it wrong. So all of a sudden, you know, precision meant, you know, dialing down my idea of what close is to a 1/16th, a 32nd of an inch or more. So what tools should you carry in your bag? I've got a couple bigger hand planes, right? These are pretty heavy. They're 2 or 3 pounds each. But to help you understand the way we used to craft versus the way we craft today, you know, this is a Stanley Bedrock. Now, Bedrock was the type of, it was basically the improved version of the Stanley plane. And you can see it because of this squared off area here. You also notice the sole is corrugated, right? It's grooved out. And the reason they did that was because if you plane for a long time and you go like this, the plane with less surface area, less friction, right? It'll work better, okay? It'll work easier. So this Stanley Bedrock, it's a 605, right? It's normally a 6, which determines its length, right? But this is a 605, this is a Stanley Bedrock. Probably a little bit too heavy to carry around in your bag. This is a Stanley 62, and this is a low angle jack plane, right? So it's about the same length as a 6, but it is low angle. Whereas you see the angle on this blade is pitched like this blade is pitched like this. Now, it's thought that this was meant for planing down butcher block tops, right? So that you have the end grain of the wood coming up and you needed a low angle to shave off that grain of that wood as it came through there. I love this plane. It's a sexy, easy working plane. You know, I was using it a little bit earlier before we started, and it's a sweet plane, right? Look at those shavings, right? Talk about precision, right? We're able to take off a 32nd, a 64th, right? We're not talking 1/8ths, we're talking 64ths, right? But the best tools, the ones I carry around with me, first one's probably I like the most. It's a low angle block plane. Now, Stanley makes this version, and it's the English version of the Stanley that you need to get, but it's a pretty slick little plane. It's lightweight. It also has an adjustable shoe. Now that's that front part that I can, if I loosen this and move this back and forth, I can actually get more room up here depending on how much work I want to hog off. So, you know, same thing here. Let's say this is the edge of a door. I need to plane it. I can do this, right, a few times, and I've got these sweet, sweet, fun shavings, probably, you know, 64th again, 32nd of an inch, and I've really taken a careful, precise way of adjusting my wood, right? And then, of course, Lee Nelson has a version of theirs. Now, Lee Nelson is a Maine tool maker who began to make copies of these original Stanley planes that were no longer available. And he did it in a wonderful way with his bronze and his castings, and they're beautiful tools. The iron's actually thicker and heavier. They're easy in your hand. They're very comfortable to use. And so if you can't find the old Stanley, then I highly recommend the Lee Nelson planes. They're awesome. The next tool is a handsaw, right? I still carry around a handsaw. I got two types. I've got a Lee Nelson back saw, okay, and this is an Irwin Japanese saw, right? You can buy these at any lumber yard. First of all, look at this. Look at that grip of that handle. Isn't that beautiful, right? And then look how it fits in my hand. Oh, baby! I mean, seriously, that's so comfortable in my hand, and it feels so good. If you just go buy a saw at a lumber yard today, that's not crafted like this, it will be uncomfortable in your hands. You will get blisters, okay? But these old saws, and if you ever bought an old saw, and I know guys who would just buy the handles of old saws because they were so comfortable. But this one fits beautifully in my hand and it feels really good. And the Japanese saws work on the pull stroke, okay, versus the American or English saws which work on the push stroke, right? So the teeth are angled this way on these saws and you're actually sawing as you push away. These are, you're pulling as you to saw, so the teeth go the other way. There is a level of precision that you're able to get with these tools that you can't get with modern tools. And I'll give you an example. This is a compound miter saw. Right? And my kerf is about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit more, right? If I take this Japanese saw that you can get at any Lowe's or hardware store, Ace or whatever, and draw and cut a curve, right? Now we're talking about 1/3 of this width, right? So instead of this 1/8, we're now talking back to that 16th, 32nd. I was always told in North Bennett Street that the best steel was Sheffield steel, right? Was from England. And so especially when you're buying old chisels. And so we use Marple's chisels. Marple's is also owned by Irwin now, but there was an English brand of chisels, and the steel's really good. Now, I've got a number of different sizes, right? There's 1.25 inches, there's down to 1/4 inch, I've even got an 1/8 inch one, right? And there's nothing like these tools for doing fine work, okay? Cutting in butt hinges, cutting in locks, and installing plates and doing different things like that. You need a good set of chisels. I remember one of my instructors said to me, I said, in this day and age where people carry around their tools in a 5-gallon bucket, okay, how do you tell a fine craftsman from a knucklehead? And he said, well, historically it was the carpenter took around a toolbox and he had different joints in his toolbox to kind of show off his work. That's no longer possible. So he wisely looked at me and goes, it's really the sharpness of their chisels will tell you the kind of craftsman they are. So if you want to test and find out whether a guy knows what he's doing, see if his chisels are sharp. See if he can, cut hair on the edge of his arm with his chisels. That guy really knows what he's doing. The other thing I like is these files. Now these are Nicholson files. It's a 49 and 50, and they are kind of rougher versions, but there's nothing like taking a file and doing the same kind of thing if you don't have room for a plane to really get in and to finish off an area, and you can really hog away a lot of wood with a good file. Now, there's a lot of Chinese-made files today. There's a lot of Chinese-made tools which suck, okay, which are no good. Don't waste your money, okay? Get good files, get good chisels, and you'll be happy. And the last one is probably something you guys already have. Is a utility knife. Now there's a number of different blades and a number of different things, but this may be the sharpest tool that you carry around, and because the blades are replaceable and things like that, I really like a tool like this to keep it handy. After I draw a line like this on my tool, right, where I'm going to cut, if I'm going to cut with chisels, sometimes I'll take my utility knife and run it right down that line, right, as a way of cutting into and making sure that when I come across here, my grain doesn't lift up past that point. There is a level of precision that you can get from these tools, and if you're really wanting to do high quality work, if you're really wanting to improve your craft, you need to know about hand tools and which ones to use in order to get your work right. Hey, look, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Whole Millwork, Whole Homes. You'll really find a bunch of great content, a bunch of back scene stuff that's on the kind of work that we're doing and the kind of jobs that we have. Really a lot more information there. Also be sure to sign up for the newsletter on the Build Show. It comes out every Friday. My videos come out every Monday. Great content there. Hope you enjoy it. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.